That's it?
Yep.
Is everyone okay with that? Can I get a motion to approve the agenda as presented? No?
I'll move to. accept.
Okay, Chrissy moved to approve the agenda as presented. Can I get a second?
I'll support.
Beverly supported. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any nays? Ayes carry. Public comment on agenda items. This is for agendas. First thing we have is we have Hill Drive citizen. Do we have a Hill Drive citizen to your Berta?
Yeah.
Do we have anyone from Hill Drive? Why don't we start with you, then you, and then we'll take someone on Berta Drive.
So we're looking to get some support in trash refuse pickup. We don't currently have any.
We have a mic right at that.
Actually, it's okay.
It's okay. He's okay.
picking up.
Okay.
So we're looking for some support. I know some of these other fire lanes aren't getting it either. Some of them that are closer to a main road are getting trash pickup. I've contacted both of our two local trash companies, Best Way and Allied. or
Republic?
Services.
Reliance?
Republic
Reliance?
Services now, yeah.
Republic.
Neither will have any of their trucks come down the fire lanes to do residential service. So what we did as residents, we collectively got together and got a communal dumpster, which was working out for a while. We need somewhere to put the dumpster. Nobody that's involved in the dumpster program has property that they'll deliver the dumpster to. So right now it's kind of bouncing around a little bit. So we're kind of looking for somewhere to either put this dumpster or, you know, get some assistance on figuring out what we can do with this.
What was your name again?
Eric Carlson. So I guess what we're looking for is maybe a piece of township owned property. I don't know how much of that's sitting around or,
We don't have anything in that area.
yeah, or
We do have.
or we
this-
could bring the dumpster here, and keep it at the town hall.
Thank you.
Or if we could place the dumpster at the town hall, would be convenient.
That's for the next person.
Yeah, you're next.
Permission to speak freely.
Speak freely. I'm not allowed to.
Larry Howard, just wanted to compliment what Eric was saying, but for years we've had service, private service that we paid for up and down. And the drop off at the station is distant. Be hauling garbage to that area. Not everybody we have half the people at least there that live year round. Not everybody's as young as I am, and so it gets a little hard to haul that trash all the way out to the service station. And right now we're able to, work on an arrangement. Primarily, you're in the trespassing, so we're there at the permission of private owners. Like Aaron said, we're looking for a place to put the dumpsters, and it's all private service facilities that we contacted said their trucks are big to get up and down the lane. So, but for years, it's never been a problem until this year, or beginning of last year.
Anyone else?
Are you ready for birthday yet?
Someone behind you, Karen. You, Berta Drive.
Okay. I'm an ex-school teacher, so I like to be in front of the class. Okay.
Am I allowed to say that the front of the class is the board?
Good evening to all of you.
But you really need to address the township board.
Yes,
So I gotta look this way.
yes.
Yeah, and there's a mic there if you want to use it in your hand.
Well, can I just address them too?
Actually, no,
No?
you gotta address the township board.
Okay.
This is not a public, you're talking to
Oh,
us.
well, I just wanted them to be able to hear me also.
I'm sure they will.
Okay, well, my name is Marie Hawkins. And I live over on Berta, the corner of Berta. I also own on Silver Lake and I own on Oak Street. And I'm here to talk to you about the dumpster. I don't find this to be township matter. In fact, I think it's a conflict of interest. This is a private matter. This is between the people that own the houses and have to have their garbage picked up. I take care of my own garbage. I pick up my garbage, I take it back with me. So I'm concerned about that. As far as putting it at the township, I wouldn't want it here, like I wouldn't want an outhouse out here. That's the way I feel about that. I don't think it's your responsibility to figure out how people are going to get their garbage picked up. I think it's the individual's responsibility. Just a minute. A solution might be that on Hill Drive, you talk to the people on Hill Drive and maybe open up the road down there. But that would be a township issue. And you would have to then talk to the people, the individual people, if you wanted to do that. I'm just giving you a solution. Another solution would be to widen the road, but I don't think any of the people down there would want that road widened or put it on the tax bill. And I don't think the people would want it on their tax bill because nobody wants to pay more taxes. Today, I came out to my house on the corner of Silver Saddle and Berta. And I took a picture of it, a dumpster, not a dumpster, but what do you call it? Which you put your trash in front of my house. That's not the solution, to take it to someone else's front yard or side yard and put your dumpster, not the dumpster, but the pickup container. I want to say something good because as an ex-teacher, I don't want to offend anybody in here. And I don't want to offend you either. And I want to say that you guys have been doing a wonderful job. That's why I don't come in. I commend each and every one of you. I commend you, Ken Speicher, because you take on stuff, even this with the dumpster, that to me is a conflict of interest, but you work overtime trying to help people. And that's what you're trying to do to Hill Drive and Berta, but it's not your responsibility. This is the individual's responsibility to take care of their garbage. And with that, I'm done. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else about the Hill Drive and the garbage issue? No? Let's go ahead and we'll have Karen and then I'll get you next. Karen? Pardon?
A variety of topics from the agenda.
Okay, do I need more paper?
No. Okay, as always, my public comments are made as an independent citizen. They include facts to the best of my knowledge as well as my own opinions. On the consent agenda, the minutes from the special board meeting, I'm just requesting clarification of the board motion because it said they would pursue an appeal of the ZBA's decision. So since the ZBA did not reconvene, did the township request a stay, and what is the status on that topic? In the reports, item G10, I think you guys got notified ahead that Gary is running late, might not even make it. He sent his report with me, and he would like somebody to read it aloud, whether it's me or one of you. I don't think he cares, but I have it with me when you get to the report section. Cemetery committee, I was sorry to see that there weren't volunteers for that. To the best of my recollection, the cemeteries were not on the recent surveys or the capital improvement plan. So it's possible it's not considered a high priority within our community. Security surveillance policy. I'm just hoping that it's used properly. The rewritten policy didn't have the protections in it that the first one did. And it turns out Gary had to respond to an alarm here yesterday. And they suspect that it was probably nothing more than motion detected from a fax page. So that was no big deal. Bloomingdale Communications, I see that there's a formal agreement in there. When I looked at it, I don't remember seeing a dollar amount, but I'm just assuming you're going to confirm that the dollar amount is what was voted on many months ago. Garbage pickup, I'm really sympathetic to people having that issue. I know that when Magic Disposal left, we were getting really good service from them, and it took us a little bit. Republic is going down Fire Lane 15. I don't know if it goes all the way, but we're having some success. So I'm sure that's a real difficult problem. And I know we don't want trash dumped along the road, so maybe there's something that can be done. Maybe additional dump hours during the week or something, some way to accommodate to make it so people can do that. On the topic of the lake board, I have not seen Great Lake petitions, but I know that neither Saddle Lake nor North Lake requested a lake board, and that it is not necessary in order to establish a special assessment district. I read the commonly asked questions attachment, and it only confirmed my opinion that adding a layer of bureaucracy would only cost more time, and in that article it said 10 to 15% more money, and the results would likely please fewer of the people actually footing the bill. I know how busy you all are, so rather than add more to your plate, perhaps you could develop a checklist or some other communication to streamline administrative consistency. As far as I know, that was the only reason this is coming up. Meanwhile, the Lake Association members are willing to do their own legwork for free. The August Saddle Lake Property Owners Association meeting was literally a standing room only crowd. It was everybody in here, wall to wall. We ran out of chairs. That's how active our Lake Association is. And we have people here that are doing a lot of overtime work or have in the past. So it just makes sense that those with a vested interest have more incentive to meet deadlines and manage cost benefit ratios themselves. Blight procedures, I'm glad to see that we finally have an agreement as to addressing blight. There's a process. The audit, I barely got to look at that. I think I saw in the yes and no check marks something about going over budget somewhere, but I don't think it was very big. It wasn't specific. So I need to look at that closer unless you guys have comment. Short-term rental ordinance. Apparently the language was borrowed from Cass County, but I thought I had read in South Haven Tribune that the state was not allowing local units to enforce such ordinance, but maybe I have that wrong. Maybe it was MTA, or maybe you guys can clarify that when you get to that. And a question is, did this come through the Planning Commission, this ordinance? And if you guys do proceed, it does list noise annoyances. I wonder if you could add fireworks and barking dogs to examples. Those are the ones that make it so I can't keep my windows open sometimes. And what constitutes reasonable notice to inspect? Maybe you can't define it, but I just noticed that's kind of an open word. And maybe, again, when you get to that topic, can someone cite a hypothetical example as to why you are entertaining this now, because it hasn't been done in the township prior? And I'm assuming you want Gary's to wait until you get to the next spot.
You do Gary's now.
Now, or other people might want.
You're up there. There's not,
We'll read Gary's report when it comes to the board minutes or
Okay.
board section.
I've
I'll read it.
got
There we
copies
go.
here.
That can be-
I can get them apart. Finger on it. There's 5 in that. Oh, wait, I made 5, one for him. If he gets here. Thank you.
Good evening. Hear me okay? Great. My name is Alan Neff. I'm over on North Lake. I have a farm there. We are big supporters, and I was planning a comment on I-5 and J4, which are the two. One of the matters relates to the North Lake SAD, and the other one relates to this Lake Board. So I'll try to be very brief. First of all, as to the North Lake SAD, I'm only speaking for myself and my spouse here, but I know it's a very common sentiment. We are very grateful that the board, this township board, took the time to educate itself about what we've been doing on North Lake for the last 10 or 15 years. And we also appreciate the fact that you did not have a lot of help from your predecessors, that you really had to do a lot of new work. And you were very patient with us and our board and other members, including myself, probably spent hundreds of hours trying to help you folks understand what we were doing and why we were doing that. And we were very grateful. A large majority of property owners on North Lake support the SAD. And we're very grateful that you also approved the redetermination that we asked for this year. So I wanted to start by that. You guys had a really rough job to learn all the stuff that we spent 15 years trying to learn. And without records from your predecessors, that was even harder. And you did a great job, and we really appreciate the fact that you heard us, understood us, and approved the redetermination. Second thing, I want to talk briefly about this Lake Board issue. I'm not familiar with it yet, but the prior speaker mentioned that it may be an additional decision-making body in the process. And I again, I'm only speaking for myself at this point. But I would be very surprised if our board was not, and our membership, our property owners on the lake, were not very concerned if this is to become another decision-making layer in the process of trying to get decisions made about the treatment of our lake. As you folks learned, a lot of the decisions we make are very time sensitive. We have to treat at certain times, we have to pay vendors at certain times. And another layer of bureaucracy, however well-intentioned it might be, would be another amount of time that decisions would take, and another group of people we'd have to educate about what we're doing on the lake. So at least now, for me, if this is an additional decision-making body in the process, I hope and would recommend that the board not create a lake board. So that's all I have to say. 5 seconds left. Met my time limit. Thanks for your attention.
any other public comment? Hearing none, we're going to move on to the consent agenda. We have the meeting minutes from the previous meeting. A stay was requested as part of the filing of the court order or the court documents that we filed on the ZBA's decision. So is a stay that I think the hearing is scheduled for Friday. So we have a special board meeting of September 1st. We have expenditures, the checks that we paid. We have paid unpaid invoices, September 2022 payroll, and the treasurer's report. Do we have any discussion on the consent agenda? Any item in there you want to talk about as board members? No. Can I get a motion to approve the consent agenda? Bev made a motion to approve the consent agenda. Can I get a second?
I second.
We need a roll call vote on that.
Yes.
Rhonda?
Yes.
Ken, yes. Christie?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Yes. Oh, yes. Gary is absent. At this point in the meeting, what we have is, we've all received reports. All the reports are tied to our agenda package. And up here, should have read them all. And does anyone that has a report that they gave to us want to emphasize anything in their report to us at this time? Justin's shaking his head no. You would like to get a comment for Gary? That's fine. Go ahead. You want to read Gary's? Want us to read
Oh,
it?
you want to? I don't care who. He just asked, but if you read.
Christie can read it.
No, Bev's got it.
I plan on checking the Christmas light decorations for the downtown area for the upcoming holiday season. I does that every year. After taking them down last spring, it was observed that more of the bulbs had fallen off and need replacement. They should have new lights either replaced by the same type or should be rewired with a different type. Replacing the needed lights with the original type is relatively expensive, and the connectors are pressed fit on the wire and become detached. I plan on looking into either LED or rope type lights. We'll be submitting the results and possible costs to the board after gathering the information. I'm planning to register for some MTA online webinars on different topics over the next few months, weeks. I see the discussion of establishing a statutory lake board is on the agenda, and I read the article included in the packet. I reached out to Bloomingdale Supervisor Wasowski, County Commissioner Kurt Dorr, and Drain Commissioner Joe Parman for input. Supervisor Laskowski had not heard of this during several Great Bear Lake meetings and thinks it would unnecessarily complicate matters. Kurt Dorr has never been asked or served on any lake board. Joe Parman said there are currently 0 active lake boards in Van Buren County, and his past experience was a mess that ended in 2015, and he would not want that repeated. The needs of every lake are unique. As long as the associations are willing to volunteer for themselves, I think the township should just provide some simple guidelines for each to follow. I know that both Saddle Lake and North Lake associations requested special assessment districts rather than a lake board. Township officials have more than enough to do without interfering in this too. Unless I missed it, I see the security surveillance policy language for remote access capability has been removed. I believe that should be retained for maintenance and periodic testing by the IT provider to make sure everything is working properly. Respectfully submitted, Gary Gruss, trustee.
A little bit now. I haven't submitted a report, so I need to talk about this video stuff.
Christie, you got the floor.
I just wanted to give a quick update. There's a lot of things that have happened in the last month, but I'm not going to try to get to all of that right now. One thing I did want to mention is that we have this piece of equipment sitting in front of us. It's called a meeting owl. It has been borrowed from a local business. And the reason it's sitting here is because there's been an upgrade to our technology. and the software technology, which no longer allows the cameras that are up here to function with the other tools that we have. And speaking with Roy said these cameras were never intended to be used for the purpose they've been used for, that they are security cameras that were modified back in 2011 to do recordings of the meetings, and that they are well overdue for replacement. So I needed something to get us through this meeting, hence borrowing the piece of equipment, because we could not find a way to make these work with the new software. The upgraded software. It's not new. You didn't pay for anything new. There's been no costs involved whatsoever. So there's a lot of research going on right now. Roy is researching. I've been digging around a little, but Roy is planning on trying to provide me with some options for video. This one is pretty cool. I actually suggest that all of you get online later and look at the recording. It automatically focuses on the person speaking. Even if you're back there, it will notice that you're speaking and it will zoom to you. And
That's a 360 camera then? That is recording the entire room right
Yes.
now. Okay, I was thinking it was more for sound. Okay.
it's both. So if you, now we have a view here that I can't
Yes.
share with you guys, unfortunately. But it does have a complete 360 view
I
and
see
a
it
small
now.
banner across the top of the video. And then it'll zoom in on the members that are speaking. So it is a pretty cool tool. The audio clarity is amazing, but it is also pricey. So we are just continuing to research, but I wanted to let everybody know that's what's sitting here. So that's that. Other things I've done in the last month, I attended a session in Lansing to assist with the development of some educational tools for elections to provide education to citizens and to clerks throughout our state. It was a really fun small group of clerks from just around the state, about 12 of us, that worked with a marketing firm and the Bureau of Elections to work on those. We're in the final phases of that editing, and there should be some documentation coming out soon to help everybody understand what the election process really looks like from start to finish, because most people don't know. So I'm pretty excited about that. And other than that, just been working on keeping things going, and I'm not going to get into all of the other stuff that's on the agenda later. We'll talk about that.
I didn't submit a report, but I would like to report something on the planning commission. We have changed our meeting date to September 20. And we have chosen the,
Not to September 20, because today is September 20.
I'm sorry, Thursday, October 20th. But because of the Thursday we chose, for the rest of the year, we're going to have to choose a date for 2 more months, because one falls on Thanksgiving and probably no one wants to meet on that date. And the other is a day or so before Christmas.
It's actually the 27th, correct? Isn't it the 4th Thursday? Or is it the 3rd Thursday?
We are the 3rd Tuesday.
Uh-huh.
It's the 4th Thursday.
So it's October 27th.
That's all right. Earlier I had the 22nd in my mind.
And
And
put
we-
notices up for that, just so everyone's aware.
And we are also going to be doing a work group to, with Tasha and with Beth, Tasha and Beth, Christie will be there, the rest of the planning commission, so that we can gather everything that we've done over the last couple of years, get all the ordinance together in one place, make sure that we're all on the same page to make the transition to Beth a lot better for Beth and for us to get it all on paper so that we can start getting these hearings scheduled and getting our ordinances on the books. Because we've done a lot of work, and we're almost to the end from what I'm hearing. Mhm.
All done?
Yeah, other than that, the internet thing we went to was very interesting. Very interesting, the Market Van Buren, and we also found out while we were there that Market Van Buren will assist townships with grant writing, no charge. It was a nice bit of info.
Good, we're gonna move on to H, speakers, Habitat for Humanity.
Yay.
I have to ask, I haven't done this before, as a speaker, am I still addressing you or am I addressing it just you? All right, good to know. Well, yeah, so I work for Habitat for Humanity and specifically the Lakeshore Habitat affiliate. They have previously been operating in Ottawa and Allegan County. And as of last year, I believe, we expanded our service area to include Van Buren County. So there was a Habitat affiliate in Van Buren County prior to that, and they dissolved their operation about 2 years ago. They had the restore that was located in Bangor. So I'm just coming in to tell you folks that we are now in Van Buren County as a separate affiliate, and we have a restore that we've opened in South Haven on 73rd Street, right in front of the Menards. But we are here to service the whole county of Van Buren. So our first step was to get the restore in place in order to begin establishing a base of operation for people to be able to find us and know where we are. But then also to start making some money for us to start doing builds in the future. So if you are familiar with Habitat for Humanity, our purpose is to provide affordable housing to people who are in need. And we do that primarily through fundraising and volunteer work, which again is why we're going to have to take a little bit of time before we're going to start building in Van Buren County, because we need to get the word out. We need to find that support, both with helping hands and people who have the money to support the cause. And that's also the purpose of the restore that we've opened, is to raise funds to essentially the way that it works with our affiliate. There's certain guidelines that all affiliates have to work under, but what we found works best is that our restores tend to fund the operation of the organization. That way, when somebody makes a donation, their money is going straight to a build and not to paying somebody's salary or paying for the gas or the tools or whatever we might need. So hopefully it's appropriate, but I brought some material that I'll just leave on my table back here, so that you can look over it. But the two things that I brought, one is just a brochure that goes over kind of what our affiliate's been doing up in the other two counties that we've been servicing. We have, in conjunction with two other ministries, we're building over 30 homes currently. And in the last, I would say 20 years, we've built 150 homes.
Oh, that's great.
In those two areas. So we're very excited about some of the projects that we're working on right now. One of them is actually a whole neighborhood development that we're doing in conjunction with two other ministries, building over 30 homes in one development. And we're building about half of those ourselves.
Where is that, Ryan?
It's in the Holland area on 56th
Okay.
Street, I believe. I think the information is in
That's
the
great.
handout, yeah. But like I said, those are the types of projects that we are planning on doing here. It won't be happening tomorrow, but that's what we're moving toward. And then also to get anyone who's interested a little bit more information on how someone can get into a home once we do start building them. I'm going to put some homeowner interest forms in the back. Again, this isn't something that someone from this community would be submitting in the next year or so, but it gives a general idea of how Habitat gets somebody from, I need help finding housing to being a homeowner. Because it is a process. We like to say that Habitat for Humanity offers a hand up and not a handout. So there is a process that people need to go through in order to qualify for the program. And then, like I said, at the end of, it can take up to about 2 years from when they first apply to be a homeowner till they actually receive a mortgage on their home. We carry the mortgages ourselves as Habitat for Humanity, and it's a 0% interest loan. Typically, families pay off the loan within 25 to 30 years and free and clear to their house. But they own the home from day one of getting into it because it's their mortgage. So, yeah, so I just wanted to come in and let you all know that we're here, that we are interested in kind of establishing lines of communication and building some good infrastructure for us to be able to move forward with bringing that ministry to this area. So,
And Ryan, for those that don't know, don't you work with your families and you educate them on home ownership, the responsibilities, all the things that they'll need to know?
yes.
You help with them on repairing their credit, making sure that they are able to sustain a mortgage before you place them in a house.
That's
So
right.
it's none of your efforts and no one's money is ever wasted by
Right.
Habitat for Humanity.
Absolutely. No, we take very seriously. So for our affiliate, we have 4 core values, and one of them is stewardship. We very highly hold to the idea that it's our responsibility to handle the money and the time that people give to us very well. And yeah, when someone applies, we do look at their credit score, and if they're struggling in that area, we're happy to help them get to a point where they could apply for a program and be approved. But anyone who is approved is going to go through a certain, there's 3 courses. So they'll have to do a money management course. They'll take a course on the home buying process, so they understand the terminology. You know, as they're going through, we want them to know what a mortgage is, what's escrow. You know, if we have PMI, what is that? You know, so we want them to really feel empowered to step into home ownership. And then the final step is very practical. We have them take a course on basic home maintenance, so that, you know, when they move into a home and the heat's not kicking on, they know where to look first before trying to call
Yeah.
somebody. So there's a lot of the folks that we offer homes to, well, that we partner with in putting them into housing. They've never owned before, and it's often generational, where no one in their family has ever owned a home. They've always rented, and so it's a new experience. The added responsibilities of home ownership as opposed to just being a tenant. But yeah, so we absolutely do that. And then there's also a certain amount of, we call it sweat equity, but a number of hours that they volunteer with our organization. Some of that's paying forward by working on someone else's house that's being built. Some of it's just volunteering within the organization, whether it's at the store or in the offices. And then the last part of that sweat equity is done building their own home, which is a really neat thing to see
That
people,
is great.
because it again reinforces their investment in, you know, I put that wall up over there, you know, so they're not in a hurry to move out of those houses once they get them up.
Really happy to have you guys in Van Buren County.
Great. Well, thank you so much for asking me to come and share a little bit about what we do. And yeah, like I said, I'll leave this information on the table in the back. My wife and I just had our second child a month ago, and so I'm not sleeping as much as I'd like. Thank you. I had fully intended on bringing some of my own business cards to leave in the back as well, and I totally forgot to grab those. So if you do want to reach out to me, you can call the Restore in South Haven. Like I said, I'm the manager over there, and I'm there every day, Monday through Friday. And I'd be happy to answer any more questions or help anybody.
Can you guys take gently used furniture and household items
We
for
do,
donation
yeah.
to the store?
Yeah, the Restore, and we also do provide pickup for large items.
Oh, that's good to know.
Yeah, so if people aren't able to transport something, or they have a lot of stuff and it would take multiple trips, we do have a box truck. And we are happy to come out. We have 2 days a week right now that we do pickups. So one of them was today, so it's another reason I'm tired.
I saw the truck out there.
Yeah. But yeah, thank you again. I appreciate it. And,
Thank you.
Hopefully we'll be in touch in the future.
I'm sure we will. Thank you.
Thank you.
H2 is the Chief Johnson and Life. Is Life here? Someone from Life?
No, but they did send an annual summary. It's in the agenda packet.
Do we just want to pull this off the next month?
Well, I have another speaker for next month. So what I did was I took all of our departments and split them up over the year for them to come in and do an annual report.
Well, let's have 2 next month.
Okay.
We don't need to move to do that, do we?
No.
Speaker. We're gonna go to unfinished business, cemetery ordinance. We have looked at this a number of times, and if you go look at it now, we got some highlighted changes in it, which appear to be pretty minor.
Yeah, if you look at the actual, you might have to, is it still not loading for you? Let me see.
Oh, here it is.
Okay, you might have to close,
Is this the newest one?
yeah, you might go back, click the back arrow, the back button, Rhonda. Click your back button.
Me?
Yep, you too. Now, when you're over top of this, wipe to the left. Yep, delete it. There you go. Now click on it again and reload it.
I didn't have the right thing.
It, sometimes it takes it a while to load. I don't really know why, but. And in fact, I don't think this is the right one. Refresh this. So what happened is the attorney reviewed it a couple of times. And so I had the most recent one on there, but I didn't, he provided some, go back again. Probably click forward too soon. Delete. Back and delete it again.
So I can't get a red line copy either.
Hold on. Okay. Now click
Did
it
you
one more
delete
time.
it?
I did delete it. Now click OK. Now just wait. Now click.
I don't have that much patience.
It's not being nice to you, is it?
I don't think I deleted it.
I don't know what it's doing to you. Technology.
So when I try to get,
Oh, the red line one's
Yeah.
not loading? Well, this. Oh. What did it do? Start to load. Sorry, everyone. Yeah, I was gonna say, if we brought an 8-year-old in here, they figure it out.
yeah.
So this is the actual, the
This
red,
is the finished.
yeah,
So you just included that so that we could see what
What-
changes the attorney
yes, what changes the
Recommended?
attorney recommended, yes.
and all these pages, it's all blank. So if you've got it on yours, or if you got a paper copy,
I can print some,
I got it.
but it's up there. That's, no, that's the right one. What are you looking, you want the red line?
Oh, yeah, I just wanted to see what the changes were,
Oh, just 1 second.
because I didn't commit it to memory. I did read it. I didn't see anything I was opposed to.
There, I mean, it's just like a lot of random, hold on.
Was it just little?
Most of them were just little things. I guess I'll have to try to print it. Okay, let's see here. Can't do it from there. I'm gonna have to do it from over here.
Was that it?
That, well, that's it, but it's not showing the red line. I don't know why. You can sort of see like there's little highlighted marks in there where there were
I see it
comments
on
made.
yours.
Yeah. Oh, it's not gonna. won't let me look at it.
Did you summarize what the changes were?
Summarize?
No. Too many here and there.
Yeah, there's a lot of little here and there. It's a big ordinance. So here, I'll slide this over. All right, so this is the red line. This first paragraph here, we moved out of down below. It I put it in the resolution. It just talks about that the township doesn't have a statutory duty to spend money on cemeteries. It does have a statutory duty to maintain cemeteries, but not to spend money on them.
You don't have to, I know you don't have to expand them.
Yeah, so that was the first thing. And then he just slightly adjusted the designated township officials section. Cindy Dodge had requested that we remove the clerk as the designated township official and just make it a designated township official. So we had to add a definition for that.
I'm looking over your shoulder because I
Yeah.
can't see that far.
I know, so I gotta scroll on both sides, that's the thing. Okay, so grave lot owner. There was just a slight typo. He asked that for immediate family, that we add adopted child.
Oh, okay.
Lot, he wanted lot or plot. Did not need the rents because we have the permanent lives. There was not a definition provided for written, so we did that. I can't get logged back into. He rewrote some of this first paragraph here. And then just kind of goes on and on. We had a conflict between the definition in A2 and I think 9A, so we fixed that. We added either adult or child, or what did I do over there? Trying to control too many screens at one time.
So the final document is his.
We removed the section 5. He said there was no point. Okay.
That works.
And then just a lot of little. A lot of them are just little words here. There's some consistency with capitalization of titles. Sexton titling, what that is. What's this we moved? The marker and monuments. Oh, this is one that I actually did want to talk to. Where am I at here? Purchase price transfer fees. I want to make sure I get to where I'm at. Which is the next one. We had originally stated in section 7B that all monuments or markers must be made of stone or other equally durable composition, and then put uncommonly sized markers may require approval. He wanted specifics. So
I agree with that.
Ruth and I chatted, so this needs board decision for sure, if this is appropriate. We went with markers more than 36 inches in height would need board approval and may result in additional fees based upon, you know, any additional accommodations that would need to be made for the size of the marker. And that includes that the township board would determine those fees during the approval process. So it would be a matter of talking to the township sexton and getting, you know, time and materials quote to determine if there were additional costs that needed to be involved. So if the board, that's the one area in this that had any type of meaning change. So if the board is okay with that, we can leave that one. We may need to adjust it if the board does not like that language.
So the plot itself regulates the width anyway, because they can't go outside of their foundation. And did Michael weigh in on that at all, on like the weight, or,
Because
I don't know, what 36 is, what, about that tall, maybe? Guessing so.
We honestly, I did not have much of a chance to connect with Michael on that one. This was a last minute request from the attorney, so that was the one thing that we, Ruth and I talked about, like, as going through the cemeteries and what sizes we saw
What's common.
and what's common, and yeah. So any opinions on that?
Any discussion, further discussion? Rhonda, you okay?
The 36 inches is what. I
Beverly's
was
okay?
concerned about. Okay,
Christie, you okay?
that's fine with me.
Can I get a motion to approve resolution 2022-29, a resolution to adopt an ordinance 2022-003, the Columbia Township Cemetery Ordinance.
I do want to just make a note in there that that resolution also makes the clerk the designated township official. So make sure that the resolution itself is read as well.
But I thought that's what the attorney said to change.
The attorney said to change in the ordinance, but you have to designate someone. So we have to designate someone. It doesn't have to be
To
me.
adopt ordinance. So do you need two motions? Is that
Nope.
what you're saying?
Nope, I just wanted to make sure that everyone was aware that that resolution contains both those things. The resolution says that it's resolving that we adopt the ordinance and that we appoint the township clerk as a designated township official.
I'll make that motion.
Bev made the motion. Can I get a second?
I second.
Rhonda seconded. This is just all in favor, say aye.
Roll call.
Oh, this is yeah, ordinance.
Mhm.
Rhonda, roll call.
Yes.
Rhonda's a yes, Ken's a yes, Christie,
Yes,
Beverly,
Yes.
finished with 1-1. We're gonna go to I2, Cemetery Committee.
Mhm. So Beth and I.
We're gonna start asking for people in the audience to become members.
Michael obviously will be a part of the committee, Bev and I will be a part of the committee, and we will continue to look for public members to be a part of the committee. Now is a good time for us to get started because we did just adopt this ordinance, so it's important for us to meet and determine how we are going to begin enforcing the ordinance when it becomes effective at the end of October. So, Michael is not here tonight, so we probably need to, we'll chit chat with him and find a good time.
Before you set a meeting date.
Before we set a date.
Yeah.
Right now you have 3 members.
Yep. I would love to have 2 more. At least. So.
Nobody's dying to get in there, huh?
very
No,
funny.
everyone is dying to get in.
Okay, I guess we're done talking about that.
Yep,
Do we
It's a
need to
dead issue.
advertise for that? Have you advertised for that?
yes, I have advertised for
Should
it.
we advertise some more?
Maybe one more time, because the last time the reminder did not highlight the
We
ad, they made it look kind of
We
funny,
got
and
nobody?
Yeah.
maybe one more time.
Well, I think there might be some other things that we need to put in the paper anyway, so maybe we'll talk. There's a couple other things as we go through the agenda that I think we're gonna need to talk about ads. And maybe we can do something bigger that kind of breaks up and highlights some of the areas that we need assistance with or that we need to draw attention to.
Okay, we're done with I2. We're gonna go to I3. This is a resolution 2022-028. Is to adopt a security surveillance policy At our last special meeting, we talked about this and we decided to send it to the attorney for a comment. And it looks like he made edit only one of the sections. Got rid of video security camera, just said cameras.
Yeah.
Doesn't look like he changed too much at all.
Mm-mm.
Any discussion on this?
Yes, I can't, I couldn't get into it at home. I can't get into it here. I really don't want to. I mean, it's a surveillance policy, so I'd like to see what it says before I vote on it. I mean, I know what we agreed to in our previous meeting. And I thought what we came up with was pretty good, but I'm not trying to be a wrench here, just. What did you do different?
I went to the website to pull it up instead of using the app.
And is the red line on here? Also? Okay. Just want to see what he changed. Oh, there we go. Thank you. What was Gary? Do you know what he was talking about here in his report? The remote access.
Because it's been removed, but as far as I'm aware, nothing was removed.
I don't see anything about it at all.
I know that Gary had mentioned at one point before that he didn't believe that any remote access was necessary. However, with the system that we
Right.
currently have, it's impossible to remove that. We'd have to replace the system.
This is the document that we worked on
Yes.
all that time in that meeting.
Yes.
And the red
And at the
lines
meeting,
are
we,
from
at
the
the meeting, we
attorney.
said we're gonna send it to the
Yes.
township attorney for
Yes.
his. He put the
And these are
red,
his changes.
Correct.
the
in
reds
red.
are the changes that he did.
Correct.
He just eliminated some words and added some better words.
And I don't understand when Gary said, I believe that should be retained for maintenance and periodic testing. I'm not really clear on that. If he's referring to the remote part, the current system is all cloud-based. So
I don't see anything in here about recording access and maintenance. I remember we agreed to the length of time to store it.
oh, I did want to mention, there's a possibility that will change, so we may have to revisit this later. There's some legislation out there that they would like any recordings of election, whatever, to be held for 30 days post canvas. So if we end up having, this is just
But wouldn't
a,
that supersede what we've done here? I mean,
Right.
it would make us
This is-
do it without us changing our policy.
correct.
Okay.
I'm not saying it's gonna impact our policy at all. It doesn't, but since we are talking about it, I just wanted to make the board aware that that is something legislature's talking about. if they approve that, we will have additional hardware costs because we cannot hold that amount of data for that long of a period of time. So, but that will be a mandate. It'll be a mandate that the recordings happen and that they're retained.
That has
Marion, let
nothing
you
to
know.
do today because that's not passed,
No,
so we don't even need to talk about what we have in front of us.
Yep.
Got enough time to make a decision, Bev?
Yes,
Okay,
thank you.
can I get a motion to approve resolution 2022-028, a resolution to adopt security surveillance policy as presented?
I'll make the motion.
Beverly made the motion. Can I get a second?
I'll support.
Christie gave a second. Roll call vote. Rhonda?
No.
Ken is yes. Christie?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
We're at I4. Great Bear Lake SAD update.
I'm not really sure what to say.
You have no update.
I don't really have much of an update. It's the same thing I think we talked about last month. There were some signatures on the petition that we received that requires that all owners of the parcel sign. Only one owner of the parcel signed on a couple of them. So they were, the organization was attempting to obtain those additional signatures. I also checked with Bloomingdale Township and they have not filed petitions with Bloomingdale Township.
So they're still all getting signatures. Be my guess. Okay, we're gonna move on to 1.5. North Lake SAD update.
They did send us an email just before the meeting. I can try to access that. I don't know if we want to look at that now, or if we just want to say that we have information from North Lake with all of their budget specifications and some requests for the use of a couple of vendors. And they're over budget. I can tell you that much based off of the quick review that I had. So we will need to have a meeting to discuss how to move forward with that.
You know if they're gonna be asking for increase in millage?
Let me put on this email really quick.
I think last year they talked about they may have to do it again.
Yeah, there was I want to say it's a $7,000 shortfall.
I don't see it on this update, so.
I know, because I got it just like maybe an hour before the meeting, 2 hours before the meeting. Okay, so contract for RLS came in at $8,000 for 2023. Revised budget for 2023 changed from 43,316 to 50,316 to reflect the changes in the RLS contract. The historical average is 5,971 annually. I'm not sure. what
That's
for.
$7,000 increase. We can only do a 4 without public hearing, right?
It says current SAD revenue is 4740. That leaves a deficit of 3,026. or $3,276 or $58.50 per homeowner.
Okay.
So we'll definitely need to talk more about that. I don't feel like we've had this information far enough in advance to
Okay.
review it.
Any questions on this from other board members? Everyone good? Looks like we're gonna
I'm
have
not
to
sure
do,
when,
How do we want to proceed? Do we need to have a special meeting to talk about this?
we have to do it before the April, right? We'd have to have a hearing before April to,
No, because they have two, right? They have some that comes out in winter and some that comes out
you're
in
not gonna
spring.
get it for winter now. Right, September already.
Yeah, we don't have enough time, do we?
I don't think you
Double
do. I
hearings.
mean,
is someone here from there?
Sort of, but what it boils down to is we don't have time to hold hearings before the bills, the tax bills go out.
in other words, you can't hold the public hearing and get all the notices out and
Because it needs to be done before when,
before the tax bills go out, which is December
December.
1st, right?
which is
Am I right?
December.
I'm right.
Oh, but it has to be done before then because she has to have the numbers to them
To the county.
by November 1st,
Yeah.
right?
So there's not time to get the numbers and get a public hearing before December 1st?
Before November 1st.
Oh, before November 1st, so that gives 5 weeks.
Yeah.
That's why we were asking for this a few months ago.
So it'll have to wait for the spring or the summer tax bill.
Well, I think
Well, can you do it before, like in between tax bills?
Yeah.
So that you're ready for it all?
at our next meeting, we will set up the
Yeah.
time that we're gonna do this and get it done well in advance of
By summer.
our next opportunity.
Mhm.
Now that we got the data, we can go forward.
Yep.
There's nothing we can do about this at this point, right?
Mhm.
Anyone else got the final comment? I'm gonna move on to I6 then. Funds committed to Bloomingdale Communications.
Okay, so Steve met with Ken and I. And they proposed, the document that you see in the packet is a proposed document that they know will need to change. So that's why it's with the attorney. It's why we're not actually looking at that document right now in detail. Sorry, I'm not really good at doing all of these different things at one time.
So what is it
So-
with the attorney for? Because, so my understanding so far is board approved giving them X amount of ARPA dollars, so.
This is for the spending of that $179,000. This is their agreement with us for the use of those funds.
So they're, okay, and that, so the attorney is looking after our interest in the agreement with them
Correct.
to make sure that the money is getting us
To
what we
obtain our
expect it to
funds,
get us.
we need an
Yes.
agreement with them to show that our funds are going for high-speed
Columbia
internet
Township.
and in Columbia Township.
Yeah.
And that we understand what we're getting for what we're paying for.
Okay,
So
By the
that's-
way, they did have a delay in hooking up some of the high-speed internet we have with Consumers Energy, not putting the proper pole and transformer up. In fact, they didn't put a transformer up.
Mhm.
And there's gonna be a delay with that. Consumers says they're gonna try to expedite it though.
Yeah, so Bloomingdale actually has all them, a lot of their lines run through the Saddle Lake area, correct? That's the section we were talking
Yeah,
about.
basically on the east side of Saddle Lake.
Mhm.
The island, they're looking at getting within the next year.
Mhm.
Like to start working on it this fall.
Mhm.
And that would be this money that we're talking about.
Yeah. But again, like Ken said, they were supposed to connect the power this week, and when they went out to connect it, they said, oops, we don't have a transformer. So
Okay, I'm gonna move on to new business, garbage pickup on fire lanes as needed for.
Do you want a motion to be able to sign that when it comes back?
Well, should we not sign it the way it's written so that we know what it says?
When it comes back from the attorney, do you want
Well,
the
what-
motion
I
to
think-
grant
What if he makes
approval
changes?
Yeah, I think that should be we should wait.
until it comes back from the attorney is what it
Yeah.
says. That's what the motion says.
Move to grant approval for the supervisor to sign the agreement with Bloomingdale regarding the uses of the ARPA funds once received from the township attorney.
And the only reason why I'm suggesting that we consider that is because if we want them to start work, you have to move it forward. Otherwise, we're gonna end up.
Well,
with a
you're
special
right.
meeting.
I understand that.
But they said that a year ago and we promised all this money.
This is all related to their current Reconnect grant. The Reconnect needed to have the matching.
The federal
funds.
grant they got.
But no, they haven't received it yet. They haven't received approval on it yet because they needed to prove that we had the matching funds, which is this. So they received approval from the federal government to move forward with the amount that our funds will cover. But they still can't move forward with the federal funds.
Yeah,
It's
we
kind of a
probably ought to approve this. If I remember right, this is what they've been using. It's been used by other townships throughout the community, and
Well, and
they
again,
allow adjustments for our attorney to add stuff if they
and
want.
they want our attorney to make sure.
And they
that
want
it's
him to
appropriate.
review it, and they'll do whatever goes from him.
And it doesn't change what we've committed. or what
Yeah.
we're doing.
I guess we better do this, otherwise we'll hold up stuff. We don't want to do that. Okay, can I get a motion to grant approval to the township supervisor to sign the agreement with Bloomingdale Communications regarding the uses of ARPA funds once received from the township attorney?
Can you put the dollar amount in that?
I've already did say it'd probably be good if we had that. It's 179,000.
Mhm.
We'll add 179,000 when we have ARPA funds in parentheses or something.
I have regarding the usage of $179,000 of ARPA funds
Yeah.
once received from the township attorney.
Can I get a motion?
I'll make that motion.
Christian made a motion. Can I get a second? Got my name as supervisor on there. I probably should not make the second.
But you can.
This probably not wise.
I'll support.
Twist her arm. Rhonda,
Yes.
that's a yes. Ken's a yes. Christie,
Yes,
Beverly?
Yes.
No, you know.
I hope MEC comes through with the rest of the township like they're saying.
but you know what? They didn't, I still haven't heard from them. And what did he say? He said they'd contact us within a couple of days.
He said he'd contact you, but they're not asking for funds from the townships.
No, but they're also not doing anything.
Not yet, but they said they're going to, so I've
I
got
don't
my
know.
address. We'll see.
I don't know. I still haven't heard anything from them.
I'm taking hope in it because I had none,
Yeah, I know.
so.
Okay, now moving forward when you talk like that.
Yeah.
We're over in new business. J1, garbage pickup on fire lanes and need for recycling.
There's a couple things that I wanted to address about this. First of all, the health and welfare of our citizens is incredibly important, and that is a township function. However, the opening of the streets and the widening of the street, because it is a private road, is not a township function. So I just want to make that very clear because there was some discussion earlier that flip-flop those. So that's one thing. Yes, a SAD is an option. That is certainly something that could be done. But, and the other thing I wanted to mention about this, because this was brought up, was additional hours for transfer station starting in October. And this is part of what I was talking about with advertisements. We will be opening the transfer station on Tuesdays from 2 to 7, but we will be slightly shortening the Saturday hours from 10 to 3, I believe, is what we agreed on.
So I don't know, I'm not familiar with the area. Is there, is there any kind of road area, public road area, the road commission property area that a dumpster could be placed in so that it's at the end of their fire lane for them?
I don't think so.
Can I speak?
Sure.
So I've been through this for the last 8 months, working with all this. There is no way to make a through road. It's someone's private property. We can't just open a road. Just because it ends on one side and starts on the other side, you know, it's a fantasy. No one's gonna be like, yeah, sure, just put a road in my backyard.
No, I meant whatever public road your fire lane intersects with.
Right. But it's all private property. Everyone owns these properties here.
So the public road is a little lake road, so there's not a lot of.
Okay,
Right,
Now, they can
right, I get it now.
I mean, I had a full-size dumpster there when they did a roof a couple weeks ago. You can get big stuff down the road. Their garbage trucks are too big to go down the road. Now, Republic Services did, when they first took over the area, had a smaller truck, but that truck doesn't fit the bill for everything else they do. So when they came down to
So
replace
they're
that
gonna need
truck,
trucks.
why replace it with a smaller truck versus one that's universal that does everything else? So unfortunately, they're not able to do that. And then widening a road, I mean, it's not even that. I mean, when I had both these companies come down, there's not a proper turnaround. They can't turn one of these big pieces of equipment around.
That's why they're
at
not
these
coming to
roads.
your,
Right, and it's, I mean, I get it, like, I talked to the guy and I pled with him, and he's like, I'm telling you, he's like, it's too big of a piece of equipment to get down this road. He's like, we just won't be able to do it, it's not physically possible, he's like, what you guys are doing with the dumpster, it's probably your best case scenario. But now we need somewhere to put this dumpster, because that's currently on private property, and, you know, someone's deciding they don't want it on their property anymore, it was great to have it there while it was there, but, you know, it ran its course, and fortunately, we're between a rock and a hard place. It's either that or we get rid of it and then, you know, I don't know what people do with their garbage. I mean, I've heard stories of what people do with their garbage, but we're trying to avoid that. Best we
we've seen
can.
some.
Best we can.
And the other thing I wanted to mention is that this is not the only fire lane in our township that is having this issue. So I feel like if we choose to somehow address this as a township, that we have to address it for everyone else.
Well, our transfer station, Chuck Greg stated he would use his truck and go by and pick up your garbage at a fee for you guys. We wouldn't be involved with that.
Chuck, maybe?
That's what he was talking about. Chuck McKay.
That's what that was one of my ideas. a
You
private
guys would
individual.
sign up with him and he would come get it. Probably if you tell him what day, what time you want that picked up every week, or when you come out, you want to call him up and tell him to come get it, he would do it probably that way. If that would be a solution that would help you.
What about a keypad lockbox on the transfer station gate? I mean, is that opening a bad door there where some residents have direct
I'm
access
not,
and
I'm not,
others
would you
don't?
be interested in going down to the transfer station?
No, that's the other problem. I mean, we do have, people that are 80+ years old that are full-time residents, and it's hard enough for them to get a garbage bag, you know, just to the road where we had the garbage can. Now, we're helping all these people out that we can help out. There's probably 15 of us right now that are involved in what we've set up.
Oh,
And we try to help out, you know, the elderly as much as we can. And, you know, the transfer station on Saturday, it's not convenient. And it's not close. And I get that, you know, if that's all we have, that's all we have. But, you know, I think there's a better solution.
And that would be?
So the only
We gotta
other.
come up with one, right? That's what we're here doing.
That's what we're trying. I mean, would you be
If they all
opposed to
pick
that?
the
I don't know
same
what he would charge or
day.
anything.
If there was a
About
private,
$40.
we've discussed, the residents have discussed together, somebody privately that can do it, right? But now that person has to be reliable,
yeah,
dependable. And obviously they're not under contract, so one week they could just say they don't want to do it anymore, or they just don't show up one week. This is the pitfall you're gonna run into with that. Currently, obviously, under contract with Best Way, no matter what, they're coming Wednesday morning to get that dumpster. It's under contract, it's a signed contract. So if there's a positive, that is a company, it's not just a guy with a truck.
Well, I can tell you, we hire him to go to clean up our roadsides. And if I call him up, say, do this roadside, he's got
I
it.
mean, if this is realistic, we could definitely look into it.
The only other solution I am aware of that the board could entertain would be if the residents wanted to do a special assessment district, at which point the board would then have to come up with a solution if they decided to adopt it.
And that would require 51% of the people in the area that you want garbage picked up in.
Well, so when you say area, yes, we would have 51% on our road.
Right,
Right,
But now that doesn't include Berta,
correct.
which some people don't care. We have a couple of people involved from there. I know a couple of people they burn their trash, which I think you're not supposed to do that anymore either.
so you would, like, if it's your private road can say, we're gonna have a special assessment district for this road. And it's going to account for these things. And it would have to be 51% of them to petition
But
it.
what would it do?
Yeah, but that's the other thing, like, what does that actually gain us though? Because we still don't have the road to have.
So it
garbage truck
would,
down.
it would put a burden on us.
So it's
It's
just running around in circles.
I'm gonna write back.
Right.
I think we ought to try the Chuck thing. And if he is not gonna meet your expectations, then we'll try something
So-
else.
Just to be clear, Ken is letting you know there's another option. He's not telling you what we as the board are recommending.
I'm simply.
I'm looking for a way to solve this.
Right.
And,
The patch of property that you've got the dumpster on now, did you approach the people to see if they would just sell you that little spot?
Well, so, no, that's not gonna happen. We tried to see if
No.
there was an incentive to keep the dumpster there,
That's too bad.
and says it's not worth the headache. So that was my last conversation about that.
If we had enough folks on fire lanes that had this same issue, I don't know if they give a hoot at all, but could we petition the garbage companies and call them and ask them, look, we have this many residents that will need your service, but they can't take the big truck. Can you serve them?
I talked to both of them.
Yeah, I talked to them.
And they won't give
He's
it all,
talked about it.
even if all the fire lane people in Columbia
They
Township.
say they're not
Went with the same
driving down a
service.
fire lane that doesn't have a turnaround at the end.
Yeah.
Period.
Even if it were
They
a
could
through
drive our head
road,
back in.
yeah, even if it were a through road, they said the road wouldn't be wide enough for the style truck that they have. Wide enough, tree limbs, power lines. The obstacles, it seems like they thought of every obstacle to not come down that road. Unfortunately.
Made a few more.
Yeah, right. I get it. They have a big truck. Why go through the hassle for, our 15 houses? And I'm sure they're not short on people trying to get rid of garbage these days to make money, so.
Somebody behind you, go ahead.
That's the only thing that I'm kind of misunderstanding, is that if it's a fire lane, the fire truck should be able to get down there and back, right? But we also realize you can't compel a private service to serve us if they don't want it. And so some of it boils down to, they want to create what we need because it doesn't fit in their family. Is the way I understand.
I was hoping Goodwill and PR would
We tried
do
that.
anything at all.
I've been there 28 years.
Yeah.
and the service just stopped.
There's the reason the mafia loved waste management, right?
Um,
It's true.
Well, you got a solution
I'm
yet?
from Illinois.
if that existed, I feel like that, that the township could further discuss things that would cost money. But at this point, I don't think that the township can, allocate funds.
So no, that's not what I'm asking at all. I'm just looking to put this dumpster somewhere. We fund it ourselves. I have the contract with the company myself. I do all, the logistics, the handling all the money. I take care of everything. All I need is somewhere to put it.
Well, that's part of the issue, though. There's still money involved somehow in putting it somewhere.
Gotcha. Yeah, I don't want the township to pay for my garbage.
So you're just looking
I'll
for
take
a
it.
parking place for a
That's
dumpster
it.
that the garbage truck can access. And to me, that seems like a common sense, short-term solution anyway. I mean, something that might be the simplest thing to achieve. Don't we have an area somewhere that like, that's
Not over there.
weedy and
Your house.
back here somewhere?
Where?
Why not? You can put it with my neighbor across the road from me.
Remember, you have to be able to access it in the winter too. So where
Well, if it's right by the road.
though?
What about the corner right there? I don't know. It's dark out, otherwise I'd go look around.
Tomorrow, they're gonna move it back to the small piece of property that is owned by the Van Buren County Road Commission temporarily. Until we can come up with something.
And what's wrong with that solution?
Does the road, have you guys reached out to the road commission?
No.
They could use some good PR.
Can you reach out to Brooks?
This is the area that the road commission was going to modify for Hill Drive and do the big circle thing, and then they decided they didn't need the circle thing, and they're trying to back up on Berta Drive from going straight in and backing out. So the county does own it, but they're not using it for the turnaround at this point.
So then ask them to put the dumpster there.
Well,
That
it'll
sounds
be
like a
right on
great
the end of
idea.
the drive, and you got Jerry Oak now not happy with that, I take it.
Well, I mean, if it's not his property, then it doesn't matter.
Not his
I mean-
property.
Well, I just need someone to exactly tell me where that's not his property.
2015, we have drawings attached to an agenda.
I mean, I can't have them put this
We'll
up.
figure that out.
I will
Well,
find that
we
email.
need to get don't worry about, you need to get the permission from the road commission first before we even bother with that.
Sure, I can do that.
Yeah.
They'll do that for me.
Yeah, if we can work on that, and then we can,
They probably could
if
give me
there's
the
a piece of
drawing.
property they own right there, then,
Are you talking back where it was?
well, that's where they're gonna move it tomorrow, just to get it off Jerry's line, and that's a temporary solution. Now, that is also a people owned by the road commission. That's right by your.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll contact the Van Buren County Road Commission
Well,
tomorrow.
I'm just saying, it's not part of Hill Drive even,
No, it's not, correct.
so why are you moving it to a whole nother street?
Well, we're just scooting it back over there.
No,
because-
no.
Oh, yours in general.
Yeah, in general, if you're looking for it to permanently leave it there,
Well, you're saying that is where Hill Drive starts, is where this area is.
There's a big circle. I mean, for the snowplow to be able to drive through there and make a big circle and then come back out.
Yeah, I need a map to. see.
I will get you the map. I'll talk to the road commission
Just driving
tomorrow.
around over there, I was looking for this area and it just, I mean, it all just looks like people's properties. I don't see where this.
Well, it's Jerry gave up that property for Ron Krieger to give him access to Silver Lake that went through his property.
What if the road commission asked you guys to put up like a privacy fence or something around? Are you guys open to that?
Yeah.
That would be good for the
Yeah, like
neighbors
that.
too.
Yeah.
we have.
Yeah, I mean, you just want to have it not look, and not have it look
Yeah.
unsightly, that's fine.
But that's- I'll say this much, I'm right beside it,
Oh,
and it's right at the end of my driveway. 100 times a weekend, it's open slammed.
100?
Nobody wants it next to their house within.
100 times?
I can record it if you want.
Really, 100 times? I mean,
No, I might be exaggerating by 100, but if we got 15 residents, how many times do they
take their trash. This is all weekend homes where they're generating a lot of trash in a weekend.
Well, 100 times you open it,
Alright,
it's
you wanna
100
say
100
20?
bags, that's a lot, that's a lot.
So if you guys are like, if you're paying for this, you're kind of the boss of it. Can you guys establish
I'm not
rules?
Involved in it
Oh,
personally.
oh, so you don't live on the road, you just live by where the dumpster would be.
Right, it was
Because
placed
what
next
if
to
they
it.
establish rules that they could only do trash during certain times? Twice a
Currently,
week
we,
or
currently,
something.
we do have that with where it's at, it was part of the stipulation to be on the property it's at. It's nothing before 10 AM, nothing after 7 PM. Now, I do all the emailing and I've encouraged everybody, don't go there every time you have a kitchen bag full of garbage. Go there when you have a garbage can full of garbage. Now where Mark is talking about is directly next to his house and it's a temporary spot. I know it's inconvenient. I would never put, a fenced in area right there with it or anything like that. We just, we just need to find somewhere to put it.
To me, it seems like there should be some parcel that would come up for sale that should be not able to.
Now is all the property where you come in off of Silver Lake Drive, is all that property where you split between the two lakes? Is that all owned? It's all
We
private
don't
properties?
own any property there. Reinhardt, who lives on Saddle Lake, owns that up to the stream there. That stream is probably another location that the dumpster might be able to be put, but then you'd have people just throwing trash off.
Well, we
Silver
haven't
Lake
had
Road.
issues with that. We haven't had any issues with messes.
You don't have the traffic that Silver Lake Road has.
Well, yeah, so someone sees it, yeah.
Yeah, they see something there, they'll
Right.
just throw their trash beside it, and that's gonna be the neighbors over
I tried to get
there.
them to put it on my property. They still wouldn't take that thing down the road.
Yeah. Let me talk to county, we'll go from there, we'll see if they got a solution.
Right.
What fire lane number is that?
Pardon?
What's the fire lane number?
Nobody wants it. Especially
Fire
if it's
lane 19 or 20,
a street.
you gotta go down for it.
But I also,
Down
You're
here?
right here,
Here?
this is Hill Drive,
it's,
right there, right
This
here,
one right
comes
here, the
this
white
way.
one?
yeah.
The guy's talking, he just lives right here, he has his lot and that property behind it. Come down here, and
Where the road.
you turn this way, right now, that's a turnaround,
Gosh,
That's
darn
where
it.
it's from. But I was told,
14.
Jerry,
Yeah, it just started clicking and
Jerry told me to,
it's driving me
they were
crazy.
told that
3, that's
he
14
didn't
over
sign
by
an extension with. the
Frank
road
Kubisch's.
commission
I don't know where it went.
to have
Oh,
them use
now
that
I'm
as a
way out.
turnaround.
Okay, let's see here.
Yeah, you're over here now.
Mhm.
And that's why it's not gonna happen. But I don't know. There's something about Krieger also that Ron, since my understanding is Jerry would not sign a 20-year agreement with the road commission again. And therefore, I think the easement that Krieger had is Ron mentioned to me about asking Jerry to reopen that up because he's got all those trees planted beside his building that goes to between Saddle or Silver Saddle and Silver Lake Road.
Krieger still has that?
My understanding is Jerry would not sign a contract with the road commission again, as of a couple years ago.
I gotta talk to the road commission, see what's going on.
What are
That
we looking here?
therefore the roundabout thing is no longer in existence.
See this turn right here?
Mm-hmm,
See that round thing right there
mm-hmm.
where it spans way out? That's the road for going to Hill Drive.
Okay, so that is on,
That's Sherry Pope.
yeah, that's. Okay,
He's S and Z and
and,
Resorts. So there's area there.
yeah, but it's on his property.
Well, there's actually a map that shows that that road goes there.
Yeah, but that's a private drive, right?
There's a private drive that was given to Hill Drive for the subdivision over here. They gave this road to this property right here.
But it's just an easement.
Correct, it's a private drive. Starting right there, it's a private drive, but they got area right there that they can
And as far as.
use.
And these are Silver Lakes.
What's here?
This is where Mark lives. Right now, they got the garbage can sitting right there and Mark doesn't like it. I don't blame you. This is where the lady
What's
was.
here?
Huh?
What is this? Is this, what is this easement?
That's the road.
Which is really
That's,
hard for them to
that's
get
the
at.
subdivision
They're gonna
road.
tear it
They got a
Oh.
dedicated road, 16
And
feet or so.
already, you know, just
So is there
driving
space
on it.
here?
The gentleman right there lives way up here.
Yeah, but is there-
That's,
They wanna come
that's,
up there?
they come this way. They're coming here. There's
I know.
another road up in the back to get to these lots.
I know, but so this is a road.
No, that's
Oh,
not
what
a
is that?
county road. That's a private drive in the
Oh, okay.
subdivision. This is a private drive coming down through here like this. That's what they're used.
Or the 8th Avenue, whatever that Silver Saddle Drive is.
So
That
why
little
is that
connection
not,
where
that's
the
not a private
dumpsters
drive.
now Is not even necessarily.
That might be
on
power
lines
lines.
that you can close.
Oh, okay.
No, I'm
Oh.
sure that these people got access to their property from this back line.
Yeah, but if it shows-
There's a road that goes to all these and I think it comes
I
this
think
way.
the only reason it.
Okay, but this
was
is
in
not private,
existence
whatever it
because
is.
the town or the road commission was using it to turn away.
Yeah, this-
It's white, it's not. Black.
And he wouldn't sign the contract. with them,
Geez,
so
what a
that's why
problem.
He's saying that.
that's why it's not private. It's a public road is what you're telling me?
Yeah. he was telling us.
See, it ends right here because this property goes all the way across, so you can't get anywhere there.
Because I don't know where. the
That's
law
why
is
crappy
that he's
planning.
lost.
This isn't public, this is not private either?
Yeah, what are those?
Huh?
You know that
Yeah, what are
right
those?
I don't know.
For sale right now. They
Unknown,
got that back.
Yeah, it says that they're unknown, as in they don't have an
There's a
owner.
garage on it.
Well, they're unknown.
well, could we claim them?
They own that white garage.
I doubt it. Somebody's probably paying taxes on it
Because it's for
forever.
health and welfare.
Eventually, we have to do something.
But Ken, see if you can figure out those.
Huh?
See if you can figure those out.
What about like on the list of?
Are you looking at roads or what?
Yeah, there are
Those
these,
little white
these
spots.
lots, and it says unknown. There's one, and they look sizable.
Yeah. They're definitely big enough to put a dumpster on.
Private house right there. Why don't you go to view it? See if there's a house sitting right there.
Let me zoom in there.
You still can't get a dumpster to go up there because they can't go down.
Oh,
this
they
drive
can't go
right
down
here.
this
Well,
road
they can't
here?
make this corner and go down through here.
They won't come this far if they have a
They can't.
turnaround.
They can't. They don't have a turnaround.
What if they
That
had a turnaround?
ain't gonna give them a turnaround.
It's not? That's not big enough to give them a turnaround?
Here, go to the base map.
I'm getting there.
In the township,
You
they would send one of their.
have to go to the base map to get there. You gotta hit 2018.
Oh,
But. And if the,
listen, you.
I'll do that all night.
and if the township would put enough.
See how close that house is to there?
inventory on it,
There's no turnaround there.
That everybody that's on a fire line.
That slopes way down to the lake and
has
it's
to have
bad.
garbage service.
Mark owns all that.
What other
Mark owns
townships have
this. Mark
this?
owns all
They will bid to get those because there's gonna be.
And who's Mark?
people
Oh,
in
the
line.
gentleman.
Think about
that. Ransom.
there's hundreds of
Oh,
fire and, you know, residents on.
oh, the one who said a dumpster would be by him.
Mhm.
Well, it's on the taxes, it doesn't matter, you're gonna get it.
Well, there's other issues, but, yeah.
And then a lot of them,
But this is part of, when you come around this lake, they were going to do a turnaround right there.
Yeah, but that's, Pope's land.
But what happened is they
That's
changed.
Pope's land, according to this.
Tony has an agreement to do that.
But.
Yeah, but
well,
an
they still use it
agreement
as
to
a
do that is different than an
transportation
agreement to
of
do
their own.
something else.
cheap out there.
Well, I guess what we could do
They
is.
changed.
You
the
could ask them
boundaries
if they
and
mind.
What Stevensville.
Turn around there.
covers.
Okay, we killed this?
No.
I don't know, have we?
Well,
Oh, I don't know if we have a solution right now.
I need to get with the county.
Yeah,
Then we'll
guess.
find out where we're at with that. And then we also got Chuck is another thing to look at too and talk to him and see if
I'll ask.
he said he was interested.
If he's interested, please let me know.
We'll give him a try and that will get it at your house. You need someplace to store it and what day you want him to pick it up?
Mark also just mentioned that if Republic had enough people contracted, they would be willing to bring their smaller truck back out.
Well,
they did?
that's what I was wondering.
Did they say
earlier.
that to somebody?
Well, I'll be careful how I say this. The driver that was out there, that's been with the company 15, 20 years, said that if there was more, it's just not, it's all in the bottom line for company.
Does Republic offer recycling services, do you know?
They were, yes, recycling and garbage.
Which is a huge expense.
Recycling in the township here?
Right, so if you had, like, we
Cause I
had,
can't get it where I'm at.
yeah, we had 96 gallon
In this
cans,
township.
and you had a recycle can, you had a trash can.
Here, you had recycling
I
here.
said, like, yeah, you could get 2 separate cans.
See, they wouldn't bring it and I'm on a great road. That's
You
like,
got Best Buy.
They give you all the cans.
no, I had Republic. I had
She didn't-
Republic.
She didn't catch that, did she?
They all go in the same truck. It's
Oh.
okay.
So I'm wondering if you folks could get enough people in the township that are on fire lanes, if you could talk to your neighbors and friends and
I
ask them
think
if
Bev
they'd
ought to
be all
go around
willing
door to
to.
door on the fire
I
line.
mean, I have 16 people that didn't swing any influence. So I don't know what it takes.
1,600 maybe.
Yeah, right. I
What it
don't
is
know.
also that it takes them longer per dump. They got X amount of minutes to do. a
Right,
dump.
right, yeah.
And in the rural areas, they figure, I think he told me 3 minutes. So if they spend more than 3 minutes per resident on the bad area,
They don't like it.
they don't like it.
It's
But the other
business.
thing is,
Doesn't suit their
let them
needs.
charge a double even.
Well, we ought to check to see if they're getting grant money to do this and not doing it.
Or-
Then there's the other, that I've seen in some townships, now I'm not saying this is our solution, but I have seen some townships that get their way with trash service by, they designate, this is the only trash service that you can use here.
Mhm.
And the reason they did that was to not have all these different trucks and different garbage days up and down your street. Every day you got a garbage truck.
Yeah.
But I know that somehow Kalamazoo Township did that.
Yeah, designated service
And I don't know if that
provider.
would help this or us, or if anyone would even
Yeah,
want
that's, I mean,
that.
that's how
but-
it works at my full-time residence. It's,
And if we provided them
And we
with a
put it out
place
for
to,
bids.
oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
so-
we just changed a couple years ago because
Right.
the new bid came in and it was.
if we provided them with a place to house recycling instead of doing recycling pickup per house, they might be more willing.
Where are you gonna put it?
40 acres, a little tiny piece of it, little tiny corner.
Mm-mm.
She's gotta be a 7x9.
Is it a turn?
I'll check for land in that area.
Yeah, people don't clean it, they don't.
Well, you got people squatting on top, and you can put a dumpster somewhere.
You know, I hear on the other side of your property, they do go around there and pick up. I wonder if you could,
They don't, only if you bring all your cans to the end of the road. They won't go past, what is it, Oak? What is that? What road is that?
Dale Bradford said they go right by his house and go right around by where Lonnie Johnson used to live, go around the back where Ken
They'll
Cork
go
was.
down Oak Street, but they won't go down, well, they will go down Center Street because Center Street goes all the way through. But they won't go down Lover's Lane. So if you have garbage on Lover's Lane, you bring it to Oak Street, if you set your cans out there, like, that's what's happening with Republic and the woman that was in here earlier, people are bringing their cans there. So they told us originally, Republic told us, if you want to wheel your cans to Silver Lake Road, where the curve is, right by Jerry's place, on the paved road, if you want to wheel your cans out, they'll pick them up. Now, would they be happy that there's 30 cans in front of their house? You know what I'm
Right,
saying?
yeah, I wouldn't like that
Oh,
either.
sure they would.
Yeah,
So, I mean, they gave us a slight alternative, I guess.
Okay, I think we killed it. Not sure we solved it, but we killed it.
I'll also talk to Ann to see if she can identify any places in the area that might
Okay.
be able to help.
We're gonna check for some land in the area. Here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna check for some land in the area. I'm gonna get a hold of the County Road Commission and see if they will allow us to put it on some of the property that they own in that area. And I will talk to Chuck about what he would consider a reasonable rate to pick it up and getting into contract with. Maybe you only want one person to be in contract with him and everything is brought down to one place. or however you guys want to do it, but that would not be the township involved with it.
Correct, yeah.
That would be between you and Chuck. And then if Chuck doesn't work out, then we will be back here talking about it again.
And maybe you can call Republic too, again, and talk to them about.
I will talk to Republic again, and I'll try to talk about more diversity of the 55 fire lanes that we have and picking up on all 55. I allow them to turn around on my driveway at my main house.
I told him they could turn on my lot, and the guy said he still won't do it. He looked at it, and he's like, I'll destroy your lot with this big truck. He won't do it.
And
There's
I'm gonna say it again, just
Oh, 'cause
because
they're
it's
afraid
involved in
they'll
this
turn
whole
around and
thing.
sue
But the
them and-
number one thing
Yeah, I
in all of
get
our
it.
citizen surveys is that people want recycling. So if we can somehow loop that in,
Oh, recycling, great.
Mhm.
it's the number one thing our citizens talk about.
Okay,
Number two is internet.
okay, well, we're gonna be here all night if we don't move forward. Okay, we're gonna go to J2, the Planning Commission. Richard Francois verbally resigned to me from the Planning Commission. He has returned his books. Some of those books are also Dave Marcelletti's that he borrowed from, and his iPad back to the township. I advertised for 3 weeks for people that might be interested in sitting on the Planning Commission, and I got no response except for Shelley Hartman. So I get to select who we have, and you guys get to prove it if you like my selection. So I'm gonna move to, you wanna discuss it?
No, but you gotta accept his resignation first.
First,
I accepted that a long time ago.
we have to.
Oh, well, he doesn't have one.
That's okay, we're just gonna accept it.
So where's that motion? That's not
It's
on
in
here.
there. It
Yes,
is.
Yeah, it is.
move to accept
Oh,
the resignation.
I was already on 3. I was about ready to get done tonight.
I'll move to accept the resignation of Richard Francois from the Planning Commission.
You made the motion?
I did.
Christie made a motion. I have a second.
My second.
Rhonda seconded. You need a roll call on this?
No.
All in favor, say aye.
Uh,
Aye. Is there any nays? Didn't hear any.
Mm-mm.
Okay, so is that part A?
Now we can move on to the next line item,
Oh,
which is
that was
appointing
shit,
Shelley
shit.
Hartman.
Golly.
J3,
See, my iPod that we paid a lot of money for is being replaced by my phone.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna have to contact.
She touched it and broke it.
I broke it, yeah.
So we're on J3. The supervisor is appointing Shelley Hartman to the Planning Commission. So I think I have to make that motion, do I?
You can make that motion. Mhm.
I move to appoint Shelley Hartman to the Planning Commission effective immediately. We don't have where her term ends. Her term's gonna end at the end of wherever Richard was. I'd have to look that up.
Can't we discuss this?
Yeah, you can discuss that.
Well, you gotta get us, I'll second it so that you can get a discussion.
So we got, I made the motion, Christie seconded. Discussion.
I would like to meet this person first.
She was unable to come here tonight because her husband is recovering from heart surgery and she and her daughter are with him in the hospital.
She said she'd be here next month.
Okay, so we can leave this till next month.
My second stands. I believe that we need to keep moving forward with the planning commission.
What do you think, Bev?
she's the only one that applied. However, given Rhonda's point, if the board wants to meet her, it's not gonna be the end of the world if we have one meeting with one person down.
Well, it'd be the second one, right?
Yeah, and others that Richard didn't show up to, and
Mhm.
we don't have to have all 5 people, and
Although I will say that the planning commission's been begging for farmers to provide feedback, and she's a farmer.
And she's a business person.
well, the planning commission itself hasn't been begging so much for a farmer.
Yes, they
Well, a
have.
farmer from our community, and
She is a farmer from our.
well, she does own a farm in our
Yes.
community, yes.
Okay, I sympathize with what you're saying, and I actually agree with you a lot on that. My other side of me is saying it's hard to find a farmer. It's hard to find a business person. I've advertised, prior to I advertised, I was looking when he first told me that he was thinking about it. And I don't think we're gonna get anyone else, whether we interview or not, it's our only choice. So I think I'm gonna stay with my emotion. It's not gonna change. And I guess it's up to the three of you to, the two of you wanna go with me, or if you don't, I guess we're at that. So I got a motion, I got a second. Rhonda, you're a no?
No.
I'm a yes. Christie,
Yes.
Beverly,
Yes,
Carrie, sorry, Rhonda. Really, seriously, I'm sorry.
Well, I'm just saying,
I-
you wouldn't
I
hire
understand.
somebody
no, thank you,
without
Rhonda,
talking
for
to them,
standing up
you
for
know?
what you believe.
Yeah,
I just know that no one else is gonna ask, no one else is interested in doing it.
And
I would prefer to have someone in the community, but we're lucky to get anyone.
I
at
don't
this
want to give
point.
her a chance to change her mind.
Yeah, and she is in the community. She owns a business here and her family lives here.
Okay, we finished that, didn't we?
yeah.
Mhm.
Okay, we're gonna go to J4. Consideration of establishing a lake board. We're not looking at being a problem with any of the lake associations. A lake board, maybe not in Van Buren County, does have advantages of having a resources of getting studies and stuff done through other means than hiring somebody, and it could be cheaper. This came up because we're having more lake associations wanting to end up having weed control. And we have different lakes doing different things, and we were trying to establish a single source that all our lake associations would be under the control of one board, and that's why we brought it up. Now, we brought it up just to throw it out there to see if it sticks to anything and see what type of bounce back we get, and we hear you loud and clear. We're still probably gonna take a little bit more look at it and more in depth. I'm glad Gary did. Gary's got some good information that when the drain commissioner says he doesn't like it, that means he probably don't want it and doesn't want anything to do with it. But where they do work, they work on a lot of lakes, and they can get someone from Michigan State University to come down and do the studies for you. Doesn't cost you anything. They come in with the kids that are in school trying to learn with a good professor, and everything is taken care of that way. And it might be very beneficial for that. But we're not gonna do it if none of the lakes wanna do it. But we do need to look at the costs. For North Lake, they're a smaller lake, they're paying more than Saddle Lake, a bigger lake. And you gotta ask yourself, why are we spending more here than there? And are we doing the right thing to the lakes? And we're just putting out a feeler just to look.
So I just wanted to say a couple of reasons why I was originally, I thought this was something worth considering. And I'm not sold one way or the other. But the things that I found to be potentially helpful were that, number one, there's a misconception that a lake board does not have representation from the lakes. The lake board, it's required to have representation from the lakes. So yes, a minimum of one per whatever lake. So my initial thoughts were it would be helpful to have those participating people. Like right now we have North Lake and Saddle Lake. They would at minimum have to have representation from both of those lakes. And my thoughts were that having them on a common board to discuss and compile their resources. Doesn't mean that you have to do the same things. It just means that you're using your network. I know that when we've discussed this ads in the past, that drains have come up. There were questions about drains. So having the ability to have everybody sit at the table and bring the information together, I thought would be helpful. So in my mind, this was a point of being able to bring all of the parties together and establish some more streamlined focus on the lake stats. Which is completely opposite of what I've heard from everybody tonight. So that was just what my initial thoughts were, that it would be more streamlined and would allow people to network and us to more quickly gather information. But that doesn't mean it's necessarily going to work, I guess.
Well, I'm still gonna get a hold of our drain commissioner, and I'm gonna talk to the county clerk and see why they really are not interested in doing this, since they have a law that kind of puts them responsible for it. But if they don't want it, then we're not gonna be successful if somebody's already pushing back before we even get started. But on the other hand, I would think that maybe the lake associations should have a couple representatives get with the other lake association and sit down and talk about how you're handling
That's already
this
starting.
and that, and maybe start giving us a report once every 6 months on what the health of the lakes are and what's working good and what's not.
So for about the, oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
There is a counter organization, Michigan Lakes and Streams Association, which all of the lakes sort of agreed to be part of. And twice a year, we have a meeting down in, I guess, Hartford, where somebody from every lake sits down, and there's usually about 25 lakes represented.
Oh,
We discuss our problems and our solutions.
Do they put out a report?
Yes.
Newsletter.
And the lake associations get, do have these reports?
Somebody does.
Karen, do you have them?
No.
Are they online or something?
I just pulled up something that comes in, I don't know, it seems like it's every couple of weeks that something comes out.
Yeah.
Kind of like MTA sends little
Yeah.
things out periodically. The topic on this one was wake boats, and then they have different topics that, you know, everybody has at a different lake might still care about what's going on these things.
What about, do the local associations connect with the drain commissioner on a regular basis?
Only when
At
there's,
least once a year.
I
Once or
would
twice
say
a year.
that we have reached out to them on numerous occasions, and it's a challenge.
Well, and see, that was one of my other thoughts, was if this was a required, well,
You know-
I mean, we can't require him to attend a meeting, but at least it would look badly to the public.
We have a lot of water courses in the county, and I think he's a very busy person, and it's taken frequently a lot of effort to get his attention. But I haven't worked with, well, I tried reaching out, I was on our Lake Association board a number of years ago, and it was hard to get his attention. And he's, you know, we have a lot of water issues in this county. We have agriculture and commercial and recreational, and very demanding.
Anyone else?
So I can say that, I'm part of a weed committee that works with the association on Saddle Lake, and we communicate, probably with the last year, we've been communicating with North Lake.
Right.
You know, it's the other closer lake and we're actually having a study done by Restorative Lake Sciences, which they've had done, and they're working towards you know, an overall healthier lake. And now I believe our study has started. I know our president is at Oktoberfest right now, so.
It's like you have.
Right, so I believe we did get started with it. I mean, and I don't know if anybody was involved, like Karen said at the meeting, last month for our fall association meeting. And, in order to come up with funds to pay this restorative lake sciences to not have to dig into our funds, it was just word of mouth fundraising, and we came up with $9,000 out of the 12 that we needed. So our goal was 6, we achieved 9. So are we capable of doing it all ourselves? Sure, but I mean, unless the board wants to bring money to the table, do we want a board?
Can I just add something to it? I think, you know, the gentleman mentioned lakes, the Lakes and Streams group. I think that was one of the groups we originally consulted when we were trying to figure out a better way to manage our weed problem than just harvesting. And they may have been among the people who recommended restorative lake sciences and some of the other people. We talked to a number of lakes that had various kinds of weed programs. This has been a 15-year process. I know it's a 15-year process because I was back on the board when we started it. And we consulted a lot of lakes. We talked to, I think, the Lakes and Streams organization. I think we found them helpful as a resource. And they may have originally, I don't want to swear to this because it's been a while now, but they may have been among the people who recommended the route we eventually went down with our consultants.
So my understanding of what a lake board does is basically the same thing the township board does, except for the people who are making the decisions are the people that are on this associations and the county commissioner and the county drain commissioner. And then their recommendation is provided to the board. They hold the hearings just like we would hold the hearings. They do all of the legwork. And then they just bring a recommendation to us, much like a planning commission.
Yeah, I guess that's, I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
I think the concern of any of the lakes that do these things, and you people have felt it firsthand because you came into this with, as I said, kind of a not knowing there wasn't a blank slate, there was a server's worth of information. One of the things that I think every lake association would be concerned about, if this streamlines the process, we'd be all for it, first of all, because we all know how much time it takes, how much expertise it takes, and how many decisions are very time sensitive in the process. So if this expedited getting our consultants selected, our contracts signed, our treatments in place, our contractors paid, then I think, kind of a fact-oriented association, that's how we develop our plan. And if we were persuaded that this is a good way of accelerating the process and making it more efficient, I think we would favor it. We're just concerned two things we're concerned about. One, that it might slow down the process if it's another layer of decision making. And you have to do your due diligence even when you get a recommendation. You have to decide whether because you're spending our money along with the money we're providing. And second of all, just the excerpt I noted here doesn't say anything about a lake association member, the excerpt of the statute. So it would be important to see the language that specifies that there's a lake association member on this lake board. And if they wind up, taking 90% of the work out of your hands, and they're much more efficient and knowledgeable because it's their business, I think we talk it over and decide whether it worked for us. But we're looking for speed and efficiency in this process. And it's been very hard for you because you didn't have we came to this with no real experience in our particular lake and our history of working on it, and no records,
Uh-huh.
as we learned later on.
And that is exactly why this appeals to me, because to me, and I'm gonna find that because I'm pretty sure that it says somewhere that there's one representative from the lake.
The MCL, the full MCL has it.
Yeah.
This was just one part.
Okay, all right, well, that's
But,
good to know.
so to me, having a lake board is about having the people with knowledge, holding the hearings and making the decisions. And then, yes, the board still overall has, so there's one step where the board approves it, but the board doesn't have to hold the hearing.
Right.
So the lake board's holding the hearing, the lake board's, pulling all that stuff together. And ultimately, the idea would be lake board hands something to the board, who is the least educated of all of them, that spells it all out and says, this is really what we think you should do, and this is why.
If we were persuaded that this accelerates the process and makes it more efficient, we might very well be on board with that, but we don't know because none of us have had experience with this lake board, and our initial reaction is, another
Oh, yeah.
layer of
Bureaucracy. I got it.
And I speak as a former government employee who had to be as efficient as possible in this job. So
And you're not speaking as on a board currently.
I am not on our board now, but I have been like many other people. We have a small lake association. And it's
It
been
looks
a
like the
process
individual ones.
that
My goal
many
was
of
for
us
all
have
of
been very deeply
That's
involved,
what the network is
including,
about.
I support our board. But I'm not on the board at this time. I may be at a later date, we have elections again next spring.
Speaking to board members on both of the current lakes, they are both opposed. The initial reaction
Yeah.
is negative.
Right, and the initial reaction is
From the
probably,
board.
Right, and we did,
One of the things point I'd like to make is, we've got, 18 lakes in this county alone, in this township. They're all different,
yeah,
and the people who have got their feet in the water are the ones who should make the decisions.
right,
Not a board that has to do a generalization study, whether or not they have the power to
oh, I'm not,
Western or somebody.
I'm not arguing about that, I'm not,
Yeah.
I came here to say, you heard my original comments, I'm for minimizing the amount of
mhm.
inefficiency in this process. And
That's a layer of inefficiency.
yeah, well, I'm very concerned, right, I'm very concerned about it. I'd like it shown that it's not a layer.
We'll get to appoint two people.
For, I think, I'm not, again, I'm not speaking for the board, but I know the board would say, show us it's not inefficient. Show us it doesn't make it,
No,
represents the local
there's
government.
more late, it's not in that
So,
section.
And the county
Not
drain
disagree.
commissioner.
Says the
Or
lake
his
board shall consist
designee.
of all the following.
Yeah, but there's another section that specifically says that any lake that is affected has to have a representative. It's not in that section. that
Okay.
So you
put
would
in
need a
there
representative
Oh,
from each.
well,
lake.
here's my thought on
It's
a lake
affected
board.
by
If
by that.
we have to go out for cost for treatment here, and we have to go out for a cost of treatment there, and if we get another lake, we gotta go out for cost of treatment for. If we get a whole bunch of lakes that are using the same vendors and the same thing, we gotta be getting the less cost. And that would be beneficial to us, we do that, and if you had, one vendor for the items you want, whether it's harvesting or aeration and that, you probably can save money, and it's worth looking into. But if the Lakes Association, they're totally against it, I mean, it's a dead end.
Yeah, but I did
That
want to
was
clear,
Definitely the immediate response is from both that I heard from
Well-
both lake boards.
and I did receive emails from North Lake, but all of those emails were specifying, like, they were concerned that nobody would be representing them.
That's
looking at the whole
because of what was
section.
printed in the packet.
Right,
I'm looking at the whole section now. I don't see any representation in it.
They
it's
call
in
it
there.
something about a subdivision.
But no, you're gonna
And that
expect,
3 names can be submitted to the board from which 1 would be selected.
Selected, yeah.
but now also you're saying how many lakes are in the township?
Now, not every lake would have to be, only the lakes that have SADs
Oh, okay,
would have.
In other
to
words,
have
the lake would have to
representation.
come to us to say they want weed control.
gotcha.
And
In- in the
how many
town-
other lakes are actually saying that? We know it's.
We got Great Bear Lake that is now
so
coming
it's
in.
3.
I've heard a possibility of another one down the road, but
Scott Lake is doing it, but we
They're
only have
not
a
in-
few.
we don't have Scott, we have Jeff though.
We have Scott.
We have Scott,
Just a part,
Part
a
of
very
it.
small
like that
part of
teeny
it.
tiny
Yeah.
little
We
corner.
got the curve.
Did someone named Georgette call you?
Pardon?
Someone
Anyway,
named Georgette call you from North Scott Lake?
my point is that it's more knowledgeable people coming together. You don't have, like, I am sure that the whole process you guys went through this last spring was painful.
That is a
So-
very, very kind and mild. And it was painful for you folks.
And so my initial thoughts were if we have a more educated group of people that are coming together to do all of that stuff that we were doing. And then all we're coming in is looking at a report, asking a few questions, hopefully, because all the work's been done well, and we make a decision.
Yeah, if it works
Makeup
that
of
way,
this-
I think.
The makeup of the board is, it says a chairperson of the county board of commissioners, which would almost certainly be Kurt, and he's never done it in his life, so I don't
Right.
see any education curve there. And the drain commissioner has already had very bad experience doing it and does not want to do it anymore.
That's what I-
So I'm not sure we're picking up all this extra education that you're talking about.
I'm talking about the representatives from the lake being the ones that are making the decisions.
Well, that's what's going on now.
Right, but now if you get opposition,
But they're not the ones
Everybody else.
holding the hearings, they're not the ones that are actually making the decisions. So this organization would be ultimately presenting a complete packet to the board with the hearings done and everything. They can hold those hearings better than we can because we're not, I mean, we're sitting here and we're listening, but we're not the people that are educated in that. That's just my thoughts. That's just,
Yeah, and I should add another point too, that most of the officials named on this board wouldn't be necessarily expert in this either.
Right.
Because they're county commissioner, county clerk.
well,
The only one who would probably show would
The
be
drain.
Kurt Dora.
Yeah.
County commissioner.
The drain commissioner deals with water.
so we're looking at what Kurt and the drain commissioner, right? So the county commissioner, drain commissioner, and then the representatives from the lake.
If
Doesn't
there are
it say something
representatives from
from your
Lake on
board
this,
too?
and I don't even see that.
Yes,
right
it
now.
does, the local unit of government.
Well, I think there's a pretty good chance that somebody on our local government is involved in a lake at any given point in time and could sit on that board.
Yeah.
So it'd be 2 people from this board, 2 representatives at local unit of government, the county drain commissioner or his designee,
Yeah, so that's.
Yeah, it looks like it would
a
be
county
2.
commissioner,
Yeah, so I'm saying the county
and then
commissioner.
how many
may not.
lake, how many actual lake
There, you have to do at least
association
one,
members?
at
So
least
you
one from
have-
every affected lake.
You'd have 2 people from this board on both boards, is what would happen. So I'm not seeing the advantage personally, and I'm not speaking just for me. I've heard from the board members on both the other lakes, so.
Yeah, and our board members are very concerned because they just don't know. They have well-founded doubts. And we can do more research and find out if there is in fact a lake association member, but the only, I went to the statutes and I looked quickly. And this is the only provision relating to composition, and it says nothing about clerk association members. If there's another it's gotta be, there might be another section somewhere, but it's not in this section. You actually did give a complete quotation on the composition. So, yeah, everybody's concerned, and you know, I know everybody in our association wants this to work efficiently. And right now, we don't have any reason to think that it would, and that our ability to, you know, affect the outcome would be that much more remote.
Well, I think we discussed this long enough. I think the consensus here probably is going to be that we should not look at this any further. Is there any board members that disagrees with that? This is just a consideration thing. You interested in looking at this anymore?
No.
Bev?
Well, I don't know, because I don't know what I don't know, so
I was gonna say,
I'm just,
Maybe you guys could provide more.
I'm thinking if we had more complete information and know what the makeup would be, how many members the lake residents would actually get, you know, so that it wouldn't be just another board, but at a different place.
I feel like the whole point of putting this out there was to have discussion about it, but then there hasn't been enough time for everyone to digest.
Yeah.
Well, let's
So-
just
I'm-
regroup then. And we'll do a little more investigating and
And I
And then-
don't want everybody to be concerned, like, I don't want to shove this down anybody's throat by any means.
I think let me talk to the drain commissioner, because if he's saying what I heard he said, then, and I believe he did say that, I can see why he wouldn't want to be involved. But I would like to talk to him about that, and if he's not interested, we should not be starting off with a negative. In my opinion. So we're just gonna leave that like that and move on to J5. My dog's probably crossing his legs about now. Blight procedure and update.
I'm sorry.
Got that up there?
No.
Did I get you off target when I said what I said? Basically, the blight procedure would be initial blight complaint. It's received by the township. Our secretary would keep the records. It'll be in a spreadsheet, and it notifies the deputy and our enforcement officer. The deputy to take initial photographs and upload those to OneDrive. Our ordinance enforcement officer to draft a report and a letter for a 15-day complaint timeline. And then the officer or our deputy to follow up after 15 days to check for compliance. If the compliance has been met, the case is closed. If compliance has not been met, citations to be issued and delivered by the deputy. All information sent to the court. There'd be a pretrial hearing if necessary. Compliance order requested and an estimate for cleanup to be sought and approved by the township board. And then the cleanup scheduled and effectuate for the court order. And that will be the steps we start taking. We have been working on blight for the last year and a half. We've made some progress, but not the progress that we like to see. We were doing free dump days. We've been talking to people. They start complying and it's right back to being the same it was. So we're now with the dump days and everything, and giving everybody an opportunity to understand we're gonna do something. It's time to do something. Board discussion?
I'm sorry, I'm going back to something. I just really wanted to give you a quick reference point.
Oh, sure.
MCL 324. .30903, 903, paragraph 1B.
I thought I looked at it. I guess I missed it.
Karen knew all along. She's holding back.
I knew I read it, so
Okay, back to what we were talking about. I just read it.
I'm good.
You're good.
Mhm.
Beverly, you're good.
Yeah.
Rhonda,
Yeah, it's about time we did something.
you ready to go home?
Mhm.
Yeah. Not feeling well?
No,
Oh,
I'm trying to make this as less painful as I can. That's just an update, right?
yep.
We're moving on to audit.
Did everybody get them out of their boxes? I don't see them. out.
I did,
So,
that's mine.
The finals are in your boxes if you haven't seen them yet. There were a couple errors in the draft. I can tell you what they were if you give me a minute.
Who composed the draft?
The
Does
accountant-
the audit,
mhm,
the auditor
auditors.
do that?
Yep.
And then they found an audit and corrected it, all the same one secret can.
I had to email them, so give me just a second. When I reviewed it, I found from the draft, the changes or the errors that were originally found were in, on page 8, paragraph 2, they accidentally put revenue twice instead of putting in expenditure. On page 19 in note 2, they said that we did not adopt a senior services budget, which we did, so we corrected that. Which also changes the check mark 1 that gets filed with the state, so they fixed that. And then page 21 in note 8, they had mentioned initially that the pension was available to employees. So I corrected that. In note 9, they said that we had various litigations and claims pending. I said, no. So they fixed that. And I did talk to him a little bit about the liquor law enforcement fund that we still have kind of floating around there. We can transfer those funds if we would like to the police fund at any point and close that.
What, they're gonna mess with our beer money?
So those were the changes that were made from the draft. And then, like I said, you guys all have the original or the final copies in physical format, because I did not have an electronic version of that at the time I posted this. They just came in the mail.
Any other discussion? Beverly? Rhonda? Can I get a motion to accept the 2021/22 audit as presented?
I'll make that motion.
Beverly made a motion. Do I have a second?
a second.
Rhonda made a second. We need a roll call. Rhonda?
Yes.
Ken, yes. Christie?
Yes.
Beverly?
Yes.
Two more. We're gonna do J7 short-term rental ordinance. It's a first read.
And it's not really even a first read. It's
It's
just,
not even a first read. You said it here.
I
just
know.
read what I'm like
I know.
Biden, I just
Getting it
read
out
what I
there.
read.
And we're getting it out so that people can start looking at it. Beth brought this to me because she gets a lot of phone calls about this. And she said that without having some sort of regulations, it's hard for her to answer questions, basically. So she suggested that we consider a short-term rental ordinance and gave me the sample, which is, I did go in and replace the township, but I forgot to replace the county. But that was the sample that she provided to me, that she's familiar with.
And the planning commission has expressed a desire to get an ordinance on the books for this for a while now.
Yes.
If we have,
If the state
if we
doesn't
have
pass their
comments
law.
on this, you want this sent to who? I mean, you should have someone taking all the comments for our next meeting that we got them in there.
I guess I can do it.
Comments,
Volunteer.
comments because generated by what?
To
But
generate.
you read it, you see something you don't like, and you
Oh,
want to make a change
From the
or
board, okay.
want it considered something else or
Yeah.
too restrictive, not restrictive enough, whatever.
Sure, I can make edits if people want to send me what their ideas are. I'll incorporate them all into one document and bring it to the next board meeting.
Okay,
Can you just put it in the iCompass, like the minutes, or doesn't work that way?
So there is a question as to whether if you put a doc, yeah,
Oh, right, I get it, that could be an
Which
OMA
is-
problem.
you're right. So if everybody reports to one person compiles it all and brings it to the board, it's okay.
Sure. Sorry.
It's
that's
okay.
why I was asking for a
Tired
point
too.
person.
I'm not in pain like Rhonda, but I'm
Okay,
tired.
we need to move on. We're gonna go to J8, parking lot maintenance. We got funds?
This is seriously a discussion point.
We need to do some parking lot maintenance, but I'm not sure we got money for it. We
What
need
do
to
we
find,
need to
first,
do?
let's find if we got money, and if we got money, then we'll,
What's wrong with the parking lot?
It has,
it's got a lot of
Still
cracks.
coating?
it's got, yeah, it needs new seal, it's cracks, just general maintenance to make sure that we don't, damage it more. And the paint starting to fade. One of the things I would like to have the township consider when we do repaint is I would like to have a line marked. That's the 100-foot mark from the door,
Big circle.
big circle.
Oh, for elections?
It's gonna look like a 3-point shot, huh?
Because the problem is I literally cannot mark the 100-foot mark from, in a lot of our spaces because it's on the pavement. I don't want to block parking spaces. And so if we could have it on the ground, it would make it a lot easier.
We could get some chalk and just,
For now,
string
for
and-
now, fluorescent marking paint, fluorescent duct tape, for now,
I'm not,
for this
well,
election.
it's not a necessity. I was just saying that
It's
when
not
we
a bad
get to the
idea.
point of doing that, I would like the board to consider it.
Is that just from the main door coming in? or
Correct,
from
because that'd be
every
the
door?
entrance. The exit, it's okay. The entrance,
how many feet is that?
100 feet.
We could do some line, like striping for the football, baseball field.
Sure.
So are you looking at, are you?
We're gonna
look
have
at
check
getting some
Sunday night
prices, some
before we do
bids
anything
on-
with this.
Bids, yeah, we can do that.
You can do that now?
Well, I'm not doing anything.
You can't check funding right now?
Oh, no.
No, we need to make sure we got money to do that.
Yeah.
We're spending way too much
Well,
money.
I was gonna say this, again, this doesn't even have to be in this year's budget, but I do think that the board needs to start thinking
Well,
about
it
it.
wouldn't be a
Well,
bad
I'm-
idea to
I'm-
get an
I'm doing
idea of
next
how
year's
much
budget already.
money. we
Uh,
could be
Didn't we
looking at,
just do
'cause-
this maintenance a couple years ago?
You just go out
But
and
for
get it. You'll
asphalt,
see
you need
gaps
every
like
couple
that
of
in there.
years, you
Crack.
do need to.
The rubber's out of it.
Okay.
If you don't maintain it, it gets worse. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, you don't want water in there this winter.
I think every 5 years or something for seal coating, and
Yeah, it's
I don't
3
know,
years.
it depends on how good the base is, I guess.
Okay, we killed the parking lot.
Good.
Okay, we're gonna have another public comment. You can talk about anything. You're up first.
Just, a while ago, I asked if they could put a fire lane sign on fire lane 31. And I spoke to someone at the township and they referred me to the county, and the county referred me back, I thought. So I'm trying to.
Surprise, surprise.
It's fire lane 31, it's fire lane 31, which if you're going south on 215, just past turn to.
Is the post still there? Or is the post gone?
There's no boat there.
There's no post there either?
Post.
Oh, there's, somebody put up like a hand painted 10131 sign. which is the county road address. But there's no fire lane sign. There's a fire lane sign.
But I'm just asking, do I need to pound in a post to put the sign on?
I'll pound in a post.
I don't need you pounded in. I just need to know if one's there or not.
There is no post.
We'll take care of that.
Okay, great. And then Shelley Hartman's great. She's our farmer. So I'd say that she's very diligent, very scrupulous. We've worked with her for 20 years. She volunteers rashly to work on a committee. She'll work hard. Also, just an FYI, are you folks aware that there's a rural electric cooperative that's planning to put in fiber broadband on the east side of 215? They purchased it's called MEC, I think.
Yes,
You
that's
guys are
what,
aware? Okay,
yeah.
because you were talking about fiber earlier, and they told, I was in charge of looking at it for the North Lake Association. And they said they're right now, originally they said either 22 or 23, and I contacted them in early 22. Now they said 23. I don't know if it's going to happen, but if you weren't aware of it, I just thought I'd mention it.
Christie and I are probably gonna meet with them and Frontier at some point in the
Oh,
near
please don't
future.
be with Frontier.
I've been
Yeah,
trying to get
Frontier
MEC to
needs to
contact
go
me. In
by
fact, we
the
gave the MEC rep a hard time when Bev and I were at that last meeting. And he was like coming over sheepishly asking for our contact information, and we still haven't heard anything.
But they've
Yeah.
done a big, huge portion of the county, actually. I was surprised at the townships that they've served and way out there ones, that they've gotten their projects done. So
Yeah, and
hopefully they will make good on their word.
yeah, the other thing I mentioned is there's a statewide organization that sort of not for profit, keeps that rural broadband. That's how I found this MEC. They said very good things about MEC in terms of
Mhm.
delivery and service. So we're all hopeful. That's all. I just
Right.
didn't know whether you guys were aware.
Yeah, because we don't have the options. So it's,
Frontier is
we don't
not
get to
big.
choose who
After the
gets an
meeting,
area.
I'll tell anyone who wants to hear a story about my latest experience with Frontier.
I have rows and rows of texts because every week it's one or the other that's not working.
Mm.
Yep, I'm saving them just in
I was
case
just-
I need to use
I'm just
them
gonna say that it
or
has
get
been,
the opportunity.
Oh,
It
yeah,
has
because
been-
they'll lie and say that you had service.
it has
or
been
whatever.
confirmed that Frontier is no longer considered by the government to be an appropriate broadband service provider.
Hallelujah.
So,
I can take them off my list.
yes, you can. So we don't have to worry about that anymore.
Yeah.
We had one or two more cell towers.
Bev,
we gotta get the night
over with.
Okay.
It's public comment, not Bev
Oh, right.
Karen?
That's okay.
I'm just anticipating a little bit what Gary would have said if he had been here, because I know he mentioned it, and I heard it from somebody else too. The free dump day thing. Did you guys get a lot of phone calls from the September 10th and 11th? Because apparently, yeah, maybe you're one that noticed it too. Anybody who made note from their December newsletter, it was pre-announced then, so there were people that thought it was gonna be September 10th and 11th. You were one of them, yeah, because a lot of people, they see stuff like that, they put it on their calendar. But it was still on the township calendar too, in this, so people would have been confused. I didn't know if you got a bunch of calls or
We
how
got a
you
couple.
handled it.
We got a couple and I gave them blight tickets. So they could
Gave them
take
what?
blight tickets.
Gave them a blight ticket, a free dump pass.
Oh, when you say blight ticket, it's like, I don't think that sounds good.
Sorry.
That's what you get for calling and complaining.
She should have said free dump pass.
Free dump pass.
I gotcha, that you normally hand out for blight.
Blight,
Okay,
yep.
gotcha. The other thing that when you were talking about the surveillance thing, what I'm remembering Gary was talking about was limiting remote access to the IT tech. But you couldn't eliminate all remote access because he needed to be able to service it. So I think his notes were not clear, but that's what I remember him saying a month ago. So that's it.
Anyone else? Okay, Rhonda, final comments? Good night. Rhonda says good night. Bev, keep it short.
Same thing.
Same thing. She says good night. Christie?
Just double checking my notes here. Oh, did you give us ZBA status update?
Oh,
Yeah, you did earlier. Oh, I'm good.
does anyone want to know about the elementary school and guys interested in that?
Yeah.
Hey, Christie, you do have something to say.
Do I?
You should. If
Yeah,
you don't, I will.
so that we're moving, that we have the stay, but,
Yeah,
well,
well, you should have the stay. They, right
Yeah.
now, they can't do anywhere. We filed for a stay.
Yeah.
Here's what it was. The planning, the zoning board of appeals met to determine whether they could, build the size of building that they wanted. The size of the building was twice what we allow. The ZBA somehow answered all the questions, no, which should have resulted in them not being able to get a variance for their permit. However, they voted just the opposite and gave them a variance, which poked us to have to go after our zoning board of appeals. And we filed a lawsuit actually against our zoning board of appeals for doing something unconstitutional. They have realized that their mistake was made and that they know what they did wrong and they're apologetic, but the only way that you can overturn something that's done is by taking them to court. When we went to court, they heard us say at our meeting that we would have to do X, Y, Z, and that we would probably be asking for a stay, and they were out surveying and starting to do things as if they were about ready to move forward. So we asked the attorney to actually go ahead and get the stay. And I think the hearing is this Friday, if I remember right. I saw it on an email, but I couldn't find it when I was looking here. But from that, we're waiting for the judge. I don't think there's going to be there's going to be a motion by our attorney. There's going to be a counter response by them, and then our attorney gets to respond to their response, and then a judge makes a decision. It's not like a trial or anything like that. It's just going to be the judge making the final decision. And I think probably at the stay, they'll both present their case enough why they're getting a stay, which would give the judge good reason to not do this. And basically, they did answer the questions, no. And our ordinance says that results in no variance. So that's what's going on with that. Baseball field, I'm working on that. I've taken notes tonight. I'll be working on these. And none of them are Karen's. And other than that, my dog's waiting for me, and I appreciate you guys coming out tonight. Rhonda, I hope you're feeling better, and I need a motion to adjourn.
Oh,
Okay, all in favor, say aye.
aye.
Rhonda said aye. All ayes, carry. Thank you, guys. Good discussion. Like it.